Goodies, goody, goody, yum, yum.
Hello everyone, it is an absolute honour to have a chance to meet Tim Brooke-Taylor, a man whose very name is musical.
No, I'm worried. I'm really worried.
Comedy legend, perhaps best known to many as one of the original goodies along with Professor Graham Garden and Rear Admiral Bill Oddie, but best known to many people nowadays from Radio 4 and I'm sorry I haven't a clue. And I wanted to start with Radio 4 and ask you for any memories of the great Humphrey Lyttelton.
Well, funny enough, my first memories were when I was a teenager, dancing to his music in Buxton. And I looked up at this tall man who played the trumpet brilliantly. I thought, you are the bee's knees. And little did I know that a little bit later I'd be working with one of my gods. And he was one of those terrific guys with he sort of made out that he was wasn't interested in such, but he was in everything. And I remember one stage, which is a bit sad now because it's about my age, I gave him a hard time and he said, "I'm 78 for Christ's sake." And I think nowadays he got the biggest laugh you could get, and he just went on being Hump. That was, and when he died, I said he could not be replaced because he said, and in a way I was right, but Jack D is doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Not the same job, but doing just as well in a different way. So we're very lucky to have him too.
Yeah.
We've just been touring a stage version of it around the country, and his ad-libs were quite annoying.
That's very much a Hump style, isn't it?
Yes. But if you had wonderful lines like, Tim says he's been happily married for over 40 years. His wife hasn't.
It's wonderful. In fact, it's great that we've got Samantha with the laser scoreboard over on that side of the room, but unfortunately
right.
we can't get her into frame. But
Sammy, over here. We need to go. Oh, all right.
Oh.
So
Never mind, another
you
opportunity.
blew that chance, if that's the right expression.
Well, moving on, we've decided to do the unorthodox method of asking you a question in the style of Cheddar Gorge.
All right.
And I'll try and explain this very quickly to how Cheddar Gorge works. The game is to create a sentence. Everyone goes around one word at a time until we have a grammatically correct sentence. And ordinarily, the person who finishes the sentence loses. But in this case, Tim basically has to answer whatever question we've come up with between the three of us.
All right.
So we'll just see where it goes. And it'll start with, so,
how
did
you
find
this,
mornings
conversation
comma,
with
the
most
impressive
bunch
of
fans,
and
also
groups
of
people
who
you
love?
I think you've probably ended the question
that
there.
works.
Yeah, okay, that's a viable question.
Well, I loved it because they were so friendly and lovely. You can't say anything but thank you very much for being a friendly audience.
Oh, splendid. All right. Do you want to ask the sci-fi question?
Yeah, you mentioned in your chat yesterday that you didn't really know too much about sort of the sci-fi world, but that you'd been learning a few things.
Well, I used to be a member of the Sci-Fi Book Club, where you got a book every month. And that was quite a time ago. I wish I did it again, actually, but it's one of those worlds that, as you know, once you get into it, it's not a bigger world, it's a bigger universe.
And parallel universes as well.
Yeah. And there are so many people who are absolute experts that I become humble for one of the rare times and say, tell me about it. And I've always watched it and loved it, but I'm not up to date, put it that way.
Yeah, I suppose Kindles have rather changed the Sci-Fi Book Club idea now.
That's right. I was just thinking it would be nice to get that on a Kindle, actually.
Yeah.
That'd be absolutely terrific. But I don't know, it's one of those things that I love very early on, treading on the butterfly and things like that, and working out how that would work through everywhere. And it made so much sense about real life, just like lucky moments, and you go off and because you met so-and-so and they knew so-and-so, then You had a terrible time.
Oh, the sliding doors thing. You
Yes,
film
yes.
sliding doors.
Yes,
yeah,
very
you
much
miss
so.
the
Yeah.
train and your life spins off in a
Yeah,
completely
that's
different
a
direction.
great idea.
Clever dramatic device.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. In terms of driving, would you recommend using Bill Oddie's feet as a driving simulator as a way of learning to drive?
No.
No. Okay, I thought that was important. I think we'll do another Cheddar Gorge.
Okay, all right.
In
The
Beginning,
of
time,
were
there
any,
people
who
were,
not
ideally
suited,
to
being
in,
the
universe
as,
people
who
are,
not
ideally
suited,
to
being
there,
as
people
or,
even
then
aliens.
I think that probably ends a sentence. So what do you say to that, Tim?
By
I struggled with that last one, I lost that.
He's being attacked by aliens at the moment. So they suddenly took your mind over, and I know that feeling very well.
I don't think we were quite as slick as your usual crew, but
No, indeed.
And I haven't answered it terribly well yet.
This is a very convoluted question.
But the thing when you're doing that is you try and send it in a direction. Of course, it doesn't go there, so you come back again.
Trying to think ahead of what the
Yeah.
possible sentence
What you
ending
want them
could be.
to say, so you can get.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
almost as though they're trying to beat you.
Exactly, which is really annoying.
Tim, it's been wonderful to talk to you. You're doing a cabaret this evening, which
I'm
everyone's
taking
very much looking
a small
forward
part of it in with some talented people. That's covering myself.
to. Are you enjoying the rest of your stay in Southampton, or will you be bailing off as soon as the ball is over?
I'm going off tomorrow evening.
Right.
They've got me down as staying the night, but I have to be away in the evening. So I'm looking forward to the wind and gusts and rain.
Of the tour generally, when's that happening?
Well, it's just finished. We did
Oh, right.
19 places and all over the place, you know.
Right.
And they went very well. They're very good audiences, and I'm happy to say it sold out. So it was.
Excellent.
That makes all the difference.
Excellent. 2 million listeners, I think it's currently.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I
I
haven't a
never
clue when it's
dare
on.
ask these things.
Well, that's what Wikipedia claims anyway.
I believe that when it matters. Well,
Tim, wonderful to talk to you. Thank you
Cheers.
so much
See
for
you.
giving us
Thank
the
you.
chance.